Hi everyone, this is Tony Karen, the Genealogy Coordinator of the Schaumburg Township District Library. During the time that our library is currently closed, I want to give you some other insights into things that you can do, and so this tutorial is going to give you some alternative databases and an alternative resource to actually tap into while our library is closed. I have done a couple of tutorials showcasing a little bit of accessing Ancestry Library Edition, and I'm switching gears a little bit for you in this particular tutorial. While Ancestry Library Edition is certainly a great resource, I hope you're aware of and certainly using another great resource, and that resource is Familysearch.org, which you can see is up here. That's where I'm at. Also, that you will see right now is on the right side of the screen, I'm currently logged in to Familysearch.org. You will need also to register yourself with them if you currently do not have an account with them. It's a very simple process. All you're going to need is a username and an email address to connect you to it. You won't be bothered by them in any way, shape, or form. So if you take care of that and you're logged in like I am now, we can certainly go ahead and show you some materials. For those of you specifically who are doing Chicago, Cook County research, and in particular have Chicago Catholics in your ancestral background, this tutorial is going to be for you because I want to showcase a certain database within Familysearch.org that will really make it fun and easy for you to really expand on your research. And what better way is there than when you can get data that's in printed card format that really you don't require a lot of trying to figure out what the handwriting is about, and that's another bonus in this particular case. So let's get started. I want to show you the process, how to go about this within Family Search. So first off, you're going to go to the Search tab, click on it. And again, in most cases I say don't go to the records, but in this case I'm going to say let's go to the records, which is over here. So let's do that. Oh, the infamous search box is right off the bat. All right, here's where I tell you don't immediately start searching. Become familiar with the lay of the land of what's out at Family Search. And so for that, what I want to do is show you how you can sort of gauge what's out there and tap into it, become familiar with it, and it'll help you in your research efforts. So as you can see, the map of the world is highlighted. I'm going to select the United States, and as you see, what happens is it opens up into a variety of states. So since I mentioned to you that the purpose of this tutorial is to show you some resources associated with Catholic Church burial records, in particular within Cook County, and specifically the Archdiocese of Chicago. We're going to stick within the United States and Illinois, and we're going to select that. Once again, the infamous search box has come up right at the top. Again, I suggest this. Hold off just a second before you start entering in names to search here. My suggestion, scroll down a little bit. You can see here where it's going to say show all 111 databases. I say open it up. Get a gauge for what is contained in those 111 databases by the subject contents of what they represent. So let's click on that to open it up. Okay, all the databases are now at least listed here. Now, I told you in advance, I do know in this particular case what I'm looking for, what I do want to show you, but here would be your opportunity to browse through the listing of all of these specific Illinois databases that may have some connection to your own research interests. There are a variety of all kinds of things that you can find here, but I do want to stick to what I'm showing you here today. So here in particular is the database of interest that I want to show you. As you can see, there's almost 2 million records in it. So let's click on it to see what we got. Okay, now we're at the infamous again search box. So okay, I'll go along with the flow here. This time, yes, let's enter in a name that you want to search. I'm going to stick with my name in particular. So let's do that. We're going to leave it at that. I'm not Xing off any boxes, and let's do the search. And this is what you're presented with. In this first attempt, you see I've got 585 results for the name Karina. And yes, all of those with the last name Karina definitely are coming up first at the top of the index list. But let's tweak it a little bit. So I don't even want to scroll through 585 at this point in time. As you can see over on the left, here's the name I use. I didn't box anything. In the family search world, if you X this box off, that's the equivalent, as it says, match the last names exactly. So let's just scroll down a little bit. I'm going to update that search. And so now it has given me what are truly it considers the exact last name for the name Karina in this case. So we've got 40 results, a very manageable series of data points. When you see the camera icon on the side here, it means you can view the image. And let's do that right now. If you did the text box, it's going to give you pretty much pretty much a text description of what it is. I'll show you here. You can go to that here, and here's the text description of what's there. And then it also gives you from this point where you can actually go to and see the image of what was represented in text. So let's click on that. Okay, so pretty simple, straightforward is what you're going to see over here. Now, I do want you to be sure that even though we're looking at the card, don't forget to look here at the bottom part. You've got an image index tab and an information tab. So click on the information tab. It's going to give you some catalog record information, but also it's going to give you, and in this particular case, I did a little bit of deeper looking at it, and the index cards are actually in last name order, and this is the series of the last names that are covered by this particular set of the results in which the Karinas are contained. So let's always keep that in mind, because when you go back to image index, here's the question that I'm going to ask you. Do you see on the card anywhere that tells you, geez, where is this person buried at? Sort of tells his name, where he died at in this particular case, a lot number, section, age, when he was interned, but nothing that says the cemetery that he was buried at. So this is a crazy little thing, but always go under the image index and make sure you're going to look at the cemetery name over there. So I do know that Alex F. Karen is in fact buried at St. Adalbert's, which when you become a little familiar, here's where it gives you a little bit more details. But St. Adalbert's is in Niles, Illinois, also in Cook County. So let's just go, since I know, and in fact, let me show you the image previous to this. So here's the name Karina, and that was the first one that we saw. If I scroll to the image before, it's for a Martha Kirmer, which is obviously not my name that I'm looking for, but it does coincide with the fact that the data is organized by alphabetical name of these index cards, last name being sorted first. So let's just browse through a few of these right now, just so I can show you little bits and pieces. So that's Alex Karen. If you had no clue about Alex's death, guess what? He died at the VA hospital. Now, maybe you thought he died at home. Maybe he died someplace else. Maybe no other place gives you where he died at. So here's a place where possibly you can pick up a tip. You'll also get the location of within St. Adalbert's, where he's buried at, when his interment occurred, what his age is, if perhaps you don't have you don't get his birth date here, but if you didn't have his age before, here's another possibility for obtaining that. So let's just go to the next image. Here's an Aloysius Karen. He died at home, apparently. Here's all of his information. Very similar. And again, at the bottom here, St. Adalbert's. Always keep looking at the bottom here, because these are not always guaranteed to be all for the same cemetery. So you want to make sure that you know where that's at. Here's one, Andrew Karen. Here's one, Andrew Karen again, Algonquin, Illinois. Here's another interesting one, Anna Karen. Where did she die? I believe that hospital is basically referring to Cook County Hospital. Also again, St. Adalbert's. Most of my Karen ancestors are in fact buried at St. Adalbert's. Look at this one, a handwritten one going back to 1912. Thank goodness it's pretty readable, but we're sure getting used to the printed ones. Here's an interesting one for Bessie Karen. Got her basic information, but what's also interesting in this one is it's noted that she's probably affiliated with the particular parish in Chicago called St. Hedwig's. That might have been something you would have never known from any other source. So filter through that and see other little tidbits of information that you pick up. Here's a Boleslav. Here's a Donald Karen. Now, an interesting thing there, North Avenue Hospital. Believe it or not, I'm from Chicago. I don't even know where North Avenue Hospital is at. I've never heard of that term. Dorothy Karen. So, as you can see here, it's just wonderful, pre-printed, typed up in pieces of information that you can look at. Let's go over here to the site since we've looked at a few cards already. Let's make sure we understand the tools. Now in this particular case, you're going to see the card is perfectly aligned, but I could move it and I could keep moving it back till it comes back to its original location. You can adjust the image. So you can do brightness, contrast, or I can just leave it as long as I can read it and just cancel that. Another thing you can do, now in this particular case with these images, they're in very, very good shape. Sometimes you'll encounter images in which you need to reverse the process, where instead of the card being white and the print being black, you need to do it the opposite way, where the print is white and the card is black. So let's go back to that. All right, another thing you've heard me tell in many tutorials, it's important to do the download of your data. However, in this particular case, I did notice it's a little bit different than what you do in Ancestry. So let's go through this process so I can show it to you here. Click on the download. And in this particular case, there doesn't seem to be anything else to do to click to get the download. So I'm on a Windows machine, so I'm going to click the right side of the bar, and here I'm going to basically save the image. Here's where I can now name the image. And I'll just do that for simplicity's sake. And I can then steer it to wherever I want. And in this case, I could go to the desktop or I could go to the downloads folder. So let's leave it going there. And when we do that, you notice it goes down here. It's already in the downloads folder. You can open it up from here if you want and take a look at it. But that's basically it. So it's a little different twist in this process to do the download. So I'm going to hit the back arrow up here to go back to the set of data points. And there's our card for Genevieve. So I would say this is a wonderful database. Certainly when we were doing the searching and I selected Illinois because I wanted to show you this specific database. If you have Catholics in other parts of the country, I would say And we'll go back here. Let's go back under the Search tab. Search Records. Select the U.S. And for your purposes, see on a state-by-state basis for where your ancestors are located. It's very possible that you too, within a given state, when you open it up and look at the full amount of databases within the state, you too may very well find an equivalent of what I'm seeing here for the Archdiocese of Chicago burial records for that particular state and location. So I would say experiment with that. There's no guarantee that it's going to be there. But again, I just wanted to show you here for local researchers, if you're Cook County, Chicago, Catholics, this is a database that you definitely want to take a look at. So, thank you so much for giving me a join here. I appreciate your taking a look at this tutorial. I'm hoping that it will help you. And please join me again in the near future for another tutorial in another genealogical topic that you can pursue. Guess what? While our library is closed, and you can do this from home and advance your research. Thank you so much again for joining me. Really appreciate it. Come back again for another tutorial. This is Tony Karen, Schaumburg Township District Library Genealogy Coordinator. Happy research hunting.